Look over at the word wall. Can you find histograms over there?
Yes.
Joel, point it out for us.
Wait, no.
Joel, tell us what it says right underneath it. Okay, well, what I want you to know, Shane, histograms can have spaces. So I'm going to show you examples when there's spaces. Histograms, bar graphs, they both have bars. Histograms, let's make sure that we understand the difference. Okay, this bar, don't worry about copying down. Let's just make sure we know what's going on. Okay, are you ready? First thing I want to point out is histograms always have a title. What's the title of this one? CDs owned. They always have a label on this axis. What's this label? That's usually the label for every histogram. And then this part, this axis, the x-axis, always has a name too. What's the name?
Number of CDs.
Number of CDs. Okay, so the whole point of this is to make sure you can read a histogram. Histograms come up all over the place. You might be in science and you'll see a histogram. You might even be in U.S. history and you'll see a histogram. Math class, histogram. So, right here, what is this saying? Let me change up the color. Okay, I heard it's the biggest one. Definitely. This is called an interval. That first bar is called an interval, 0 to 9, and you say it's the biggest. All right, be more specific. What number correlates with the interval 0 to 9? You can shout out, guys. 4. But what is that saying? 0 to 9 what? For what? Can you read that? Did you hear Jacob? He said that means 4 people own less than 9 CDs. Pause. Jacob, could that person own 9 CDs and be in that bar graph?
Yes.
So I would say 9 or less. So how many people own 9 or less? 4. So right here, how many people own between 10 and 19 CDs?
3.
How many own between 20 and 29?
1.
How many people own? 2. All right, I have a stretch question for you. How many people did they talk to make this histogram? Can you read that? How many people did they talk to get this data? Jacob, you were rocking it. I heard 10. Where did you get 10 from?
4 and 3, I know makes 7. Add 1 makes 8. Plus 2, that would be 10.
Do you agree with his logic? So 4 right here. Gage, stay with us. 4 plus 3, what is that? 7 plus 1?
8.
Plus 2?
10.
Do you agree with Jacob? They talked to 10 people? Now CD's kind of dying, right? Because now we've got our iPods and we've got iTunes. Not very many people buy CDs anymore. Do you agree with me? Yeah? Okay, let's start practicing this part. This is the only time we're going to use our workbooks besides the assignment. Open up to page 193. And let's talk about the 4 different kinds of histograms. Okay, ready? Open those books, page 193. Okay, on page 193, the first one talks about what kind of distribution? Skew. This is called skew distribution. Why do you think this one is called skew? What do you see in this picture? What's going on in this histogram? Natalie, what do you see?
Well, the first few things are kind of close together.
Okay.
But then the last bar is kind of just out of the bar from the rest.
Nice. She said the first bars are close together, and then all of a sudden there's one by itself. That's totally a skew, so there's space in there. Yeah? All right, the next one is called what, guys?
Normal.
Normal. All right, I want someone to just, what do you see? What are you noticing about a normal distribution? Max, thanks for raising your hand. Nice. You said in the middle, there's the top, and then it goes down on either side. How many of you? I agree with that observation. It's a normal distribution. Yeah? Normal, because if it's, why is that classified as normal? That's what Gage said. When you take data, this is a normal distribution, also sometimes called the bell curve. It just, if it's like this, you just call it normal distribution. Next one is called what? How would you say that word? Makes me sound like a robot, I feel like. I say bimodal. Some of you said bimodal. I'm not sure. Right here. What do you notice about this one? Why is this one called bimodal? Just look at it and what do you notice in the picture? What's going on? Alyssa, what do you notice?
Kind of the opposite of the normal one.
Ooh, she said opposite of the normal. Keep going.
The bottom is the smallest and then it goes taller and then it goes shorter.
Perfect. She said in the middle, it's the shortest and then it gets taller on the outside. Yeah. I look at this one and I think of a canyon. Do you agree with me? Or something that's like caved in. Or like a city. Nice. Tiny buildings.
I think like 2 sets of stairs.
Oh, or stairs. That'll work. Okay, last one. What's the last distribution? I feel like it describes it in the distribution. Corbin, why do you think this one's called flat?
Because all the things are pretty much the same.
Nice. Corbin said pretty much because they're all about the same level. Do you agree with him? Now they're all not all going to be perfectly the same level, but they're close to each other. I have a question for you on flat distribution. What if you had really tall bars, but they were still about the same? Would that still be flat distribution? Yeah, that's still flat. Okay, close your books. Put your scratch paper on top of your book. We're gonna make our own histograms. I really like this first one, even though I find this crazy. Alright, close those books. Scratch paper on top. First histogram. We are going to talk about what? Pairs of shoes. So I found this picture and I'm kind of annoyed by it. One, who has that many shoes? Two, why would you have like the same color of pink over and over and over? I don't understand. Right? Shane? Really? Shane, buddy, they're all like high heels. Alright. Okay. Nike shoes. First, always. To name our histogram. So a big title at the top. I want a hand in there. What do you want to call this one? Skylar, what do you want to call it? Pairs of shoes? What if I just simplify it? Can I just call it shoes? Are you okay with that? High heels. Alright. Now we've got to do our two. We've got to do our y-axis and our x-axis. You should be with me. You should all have a title. So x-axis and y-axis. Here's the y. Here's the x. Okay, from the very first one we talked about CD's own. Do you remember what vocab word was going this way on the y-axis? You can shout it out. Frequency. Cha-ching. Right or sideways. Frequency. Frequency. Got it. So that's our first vocab word. What's our first vocab word? Frequency. Okay, I'm going to teach you another vocab word. Intervals. What's the second vocab word? Intervals. Okay, usually histograms don't have the word written here, but because we just are barely learning it, please write intervals right here. Then we always label that x-axis. So we titled it shoes. What should we label our intervals right here? Yeah, I like that. Let's be more specific and let's call it pairs of shoes. Are you okay with that? So label this one, pairs of shoes. Okay, intervals. The intervals always come from right here. And the frequency always comes from right here, from the data. I always start with the frequency. What's the smallest amount of shoes on there? Show me with your hands. 0. Shout it out. What's the biggest number? 11. Okay, so we've got to create this on our y-axis. We've got to go from 0 to 11. Now we can count by 1s or 2s or 3s. What do you want to do? 2s? All right, you got it. Let's count by 2s. So always start at 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm just going to stretch it out because we've got to get to 11 eventually. Okay, the first interval is 1 to 3. How many people owe 1 to 3 pairs of shoes? Kaylee, what do you think? 11. So we've got to make our bar go all the way to 11. That's kind of fun because you can color it in if you want. But then don't forget to label your interval underneath, 1 to 3. Okay, next one. 4 people own between how many pairs of shoes? 4 and 6. So 4 and 6 is our next interval. But stop and think about this. It went from 3 right to 4. Do you agree with me? So should these bars touch each other? Yes, definitely, because it goes from 3 right to 4. So from 3 to 4, but now we go up. 4 people own between 4 and 6 pairs of shoes. All right, how many people own between 7 and 9 pairs? What do we do for that? Yeah, however, make sure you label the interval underneath. But don't put a bar, because nobody owns that many of the people they talk to. All right, next one. 3 people own between 10 to 12 pair. Holy cow. Right here. 10 to 12. All right, how many people own between 13 and 15? Ooh, 6. 6 people. And then don't forget to label your interval. I'm going sideways. I'm kind of out of room. Okay, of the 4 distributions we just talked about with your workbooks closed, which one would you say this one is?
So, like,
Corbin, what do you think? Bimodal, because it's going inside, right? What about this right here? Or maybe skew right, because it has a jump in it. Skew would work too. All right, I have a stretch question for you. How many people did they talk to in this survey about shoes? Somebody have a plan? Michaela, how would you figure out how many people they talked to about shoes? 24? Joel, how did you get 24? Good work. Add up those thoughts, how many people they talked to. All right, Katie, you still with us? I have another stretch question for you. What percentage of people own between 13 and 15 pairs of shoes? Can I walk you through this? Get ready to write it on your scratch paper. So I'm asking for a percentage. How many people, literally, how many people own between 13 and 15? 6. 6 people out of how many people did they talk to? Okay. 24? So I could write that as a fraction. Do you agree with me? 6 out of 24 people own between 13 and 15 shoes. But I didn't ask for a fraction, I asked for a percentage. So this is a review. Really good concepts. How do you change that back to a percentage? Max, what's your plan? Is it 4%? I don't know. How are you going to know? Or is it 45%? Alyssa, what do you think we should do?
I simplified it to 1/4.
Okay, she simplified it to 1/4.
And then this is how they're 4 quarters of a dollar. Just 25%.
Perfect. She said 4 quarters of a dollar, so that's 25%. Good work. What if it's not so easy to do it at mental math? Guys, what does this line right here mean?
Divide.
Grab your calculators, divide it. All right, but Alyssa said 25, but your calculators say 0.25. Which one do you think it is? It's 25 because you got to remember to bounce that decimal, right? Change it to a percentage. All right, next. Go. Let's do this together. I'm going to shrink the states. What should we grab? I like states visited because if we just put states, that makes it sound like we don't know how many states are in the United States. So let's call it states visited. All right, we've got our y-axis and our x-axis. Nice and loud, guys. What key vocab word goes right here?
Frequency.
All right, write it. Stay with me. Frequency. Okay, this one, add in your vocab word intervals. Your intervals always go right here. But then we have to title it. What do you want to call this? Yeah, we can call this one just states. I think that's okay. That's safe. Okay. Now, what's the smallest number in our frequency column? What's the biggest number?
14.
14? All right, we always start at 0, but what do you want to count by to get to 14? 2, 3, 4?
3.
3? So you want to do 3s? You got it. All right, 0, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. All right, there's our frequency. Okay, how many people visit between 1 and 5 states? You can shout it out, guys.
12.
All right, go all the way to 12. Make your first bar in the histogram. Oh, don't forget to label it. I almost forgot. That's the interval 1 to 5. All right, next one. How many people have visited between 6 to 10 states? Holy cow. All right, this one. I'm going to do this next bar in green. Should it touch the red one?
Yes.
Definitely, because the intervals went one right after the other. So 14, like right there. Don't forget to name it. So that's the interval 6 to 10. All right, next interval, 6 people have visited between 11 and 15. All right, so 6 right here. Oh, thanks, Gage. You reminded us. Has to be touching. Good work, Gage. Last one. 3 people have visited between 16 and 20. So 3 people, 16 to 20. Okay. How many of you? I got this. I understand how to make them. Okay, but let's do the stretch questions real quick. How many people did they talk to about visiting states? Jack, do you have it?
Well, I have a question.
Question, go ahead.
Why would 11 touching 6, 10?
Right here, it's a great question. Why are they touching 11, 15, 16, and 20? Look at these two numbers. Right here, it's one right after the other. Goes straight from 15 to 16.
Oh.
Great question. Thank you for asking that. Oh, you guys, how many people they talked to? Joel, how many? 35 people. Clap twice if you agree. Alright, they talked to 35 people. Get ready. Pencils ready, calculators ready. What percentage visited between 16 and 20 states? Again, what percentage of people visited between 16 and 20 states? Start with this. How many people visited? 3 out of how many people did they talk to? Alright, so start there. So on my paper, on my scratch paper, I'd be writing this. 3 out of 35. Then I would remind myself, fraction is just division problem in disguise, so divide it. 3 divided by 35. Shout it out, hold on. 3 divided by 35. Alright, that's 0. I'm just going to put 0.09, because we should be pros at rounding, right? That 5 makes the 8 become a 9. Alright, but is this my percentage? Gage, is this my percentage? What do I have to do? Alright, you ready? Alright, what do we have to do? Tyler, what do we do? Perfect. Going twice. 9% of people visit between 16 and 20%. How many? I got that. You okay?
Yep.
Alright, next histogram. You're on your own. Don't forget all of the little details. Question, Gage.
Is that a
Oh yeah, it could be. It could be. Alright, here's your next one. Chess. Good luck. Alright guys, I gave you a major head start. What did you call this histogram? What was your big, huge title? Shane, what did you call yours? Chess. Shane, are you okay if I add team?
Yep.
Alright. Alright, you got your y-axis, your x-axis. Nice and loud, guys. What's the vocab word that goes right here? Frequency. What's the vocab word that goes along the bottom? Intervals. But then add to the intervals. What do you call this one? I like the wins, because right here in the column for the intervals it says wins. Okay, did you count by 1s, 2s, 3s, 5s? Ones? Oh, because it only goes to 4. I probably count by 1s too. Always start at 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, first interval between 10 and 13 wins. There's 3 of them. Alright, don't forget to label your interval. Alright, next one, 4. But that's interval 14 to 17. Oh, I did it without thinking about it. Guys, should these really touch each other? So does it go straight from 13 to 14? We're good. Alright, next one. 18 to 21, another 4. Last one, 22 to 25, just 2. How many of you have the exact same histogram? Yeah? Good work. Okay. Same thing that I was telling you the other day. CRTs, they're not going to have you make your own histogram, right? They would have you look at a histogram and answer questions. So the very last part of today's note, let's answer these questions together. First question, look at the title. What is this histogram about? Alright, it's about magazines. And then it's about how many are read. The first question, letter A, says, which interval contains the fewest data values? Again, what's an interval? Intervals are always along the bottom. That's our vocab word. Alright, Kaylee, what do you think? Which one contains the least? 0, 1. I'd say that's definitely super low.
4, 5.
But 4, 5 is nothing, right? So for our answer, we can just write 4 to 5. Okay, this one. Jacob wrote this question the very first time I asked it. How many students did they talk to? Can you, do you know how to figure this out?
I just added 2 plus 15 plus 8 and I got 20.
Alright, tell us where the 2 came from.
It came from the interval 0 through 1.
Do you guys think that's about 2? Probably. Do you agree with Kenny this one's probably about 15? Do we need to do anything for this one? And then do you agree this one's probably about 3?
Yeah.
Alright, we've got this, guys. What's 2 plus 15? 17 plus 3? 20. So they talked about 20 students. Last question. What percent of students read less than 6 magazines? Okay, first. This interval, 6 to 7, is that less? No, so we've got to put these two together. So what's 15 plus 2? 17 out of how many total students? 20. Okay, take the time. Grab your calculator. Make sure we do this right. Divided by 20. Alright, I got 0.85. So is that 0.85%?
No.
Tell me what it is. 85. Oh, good. Okay, open those workbooks out. Up. I said out. Okay, 196. Go, go, go. Good luck.